Hello, this is Marquita Thomas, and this is a video response to a video posted asking about marriage, the importance of marriage, and what the difference is the day after the wedding as opposed to the day before the wedding. And I know the video was meant to be comical, but as one of the millions of LGBT people currently fighting for the right to get married, I thought this was a perfect question to answer. And as stated in the video, there are a lot of tax issues around getting married, but they're not quite as dismissive as you might think. There are huge tax issues between married and non-married people. If you're not married and let's say your partner bequeaths their 401k to you, you have to pay taxes on that gift. People who are married do not have to pay taxes on gifts. People who are not married do have to pay taxes on their gifts. And of course, there are parameters to that. I mean, you can gift someone a Snickers bar, but you just can't be gifting people $100,000 and not pay taxes. Whereas if you are married, you can get something, you can get gifts tax-free. Beyond that, there are issues relative to workers' comp, Medicaid, Social Security, pension, next of kin. If you're not married, you're not next of kin, you're not family. So any wishes you might have relative to what happens when you pass or what happens to you in case of emergency are only carried out by your next of kin. If you're not married, your next of kin is your mom, your dad, whatever. So that can be a huge issue. Next of kin decides what happens to your body parts. So, there could be decisions made on your behalf that you may not have wanted, but because the person most intimately aware of those wants is not married to you, they don't get a say-so. So that's a big issue. Beyond that, there are issues relative to parental rights. If you're not married to the person you're with and you don't have the right provisions in place, you're not even entitled to see a child's school records. Something that's really, really scary to me is the day after a wedding. Let's say you're walking down the street and the person you're with gets hit by a bus and they have an hour to live. The day after the wedding, you're allowed to spend that last hour with them in the ICU holding their hand. The day before the wedding, you're not. If you're not family. So if there's not family available to make arrangements for you to be in that room, then you're not allowed in the ICU. So that's a really big issue, and I personally know of a same-sex couple who had to deal with that. And one woman, her partner was dying of breast cancer, and she was in the ICU, and she wasn't allowed to see her partner. So that was a huge issue, and as a straight person, you also have to deal with that. So it's really important that you factor that into one of the many rights and privileges that come with being married. So if we're just talking about romance, then yes, you're right. Then, the day after you get married, you're no more in love than the day before, but getting married essentially says that you care enough about the person to make sure they're protected under the law and they receive the 1,138 statutory provisions that the federal law allows. And I think that that's the best thing that I can say about the importance of marriage. And it's the reason why so many other queer people and myself are taking to the streets and petitioning and going to court and arguing on why we deserve to be married and why we're walking around with no hate on our cheeks and all that. I mean, it's a really huge issue, and it entitles people to so very much, and it allows so many protections for themselves and their partners and their kids and their family, and it's not really something to be taken lightly. I mean, I could go on and on. I mean, immigration, for instance, if you're with somebody who's not an American, if you're not married, then you can't keep them from being sent home, essentially. So that's my answer to why marriage is so vitally important, and it's important to straight people as well. So thanks for listening, and I hope I've given you something to think about, and that's it. Thanks a lot.